Bien, un aplauso para los nuevos miembros.
And we are live. Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite truck driver in the whole wide world, ex-truck driver in the whole wide world. It's Bitcoin Ben here for the daily. What in the holy shoot is going on with Bitcoin? Number one, before I jump in here, and I'm not going to say his name, I just want to give a shout out to the young man who wrote me a letter explaining how he actually took 35% of his money and he put it into the Bitcoin. Well, you know who you are. Thank you for the letter, and your handwriting is looking very good. Great job, young man. Great job. Okay. Shout out to you, brother Hodl. This, and I'm actually, just to let you know, young man, I'm actually going to keep this right here, right by my little RV studio. So shout out to you, little man. Okay, guys and gals, what you guys need to know right now is, as you've heard me say this before, we're at war. We're at war with the old system, and the old system is fighting back. And in order to have ammunition against us, they had to buy Bitcoin. That's the great thing about the Bitcoin. In order to go to war with it, you have to buy it. You need the ammunition of the thing you're trying to kill. That's exactly what JP Morgan, because remember, JP Morgan looks long term. They're looking at Michael Saylor and they're seeing exactly what I know is coming. Michael Saylor will evolve into a bank. JP Morgan is the number one bank out there. JP Morgan has already realized they've lost to Tether. Tether actually makes 4 times what JP Morgan makes. 4 times. And that's Tether. And Michael Saylor owns 4 times as much Bitcoin as Tether owns. Put that into fucking perspective. So if they lost to Tether, they definitely know they're going to lose to Michael Saylor. Now, how does the old system get rid of companies they don't like or situations they don't like? And this is completely political. Don't let them fool you. JP Morgan is not for bringing the freedom to the people, because They know bringing freedom to the people means you put the control of the money back into the hands of the people, and you put the control of the markets back in the hands of the people. See, JP Morgan has thrived under the centralization of the U.S. economy and the banks. JP Morgan has purchased hundreds of banks over the years. They have consolidated a lot of banks into JP Morgan. That's their game. That's what they play. And how do they play it? The shorts. They have borrowed shares of MicroStrategy, and they have shorted the shares, dropping the price, because they think that they can shift the momentum. That's all they care about, shifting the momentum negative on Michael Saylor's MicroStrategies. What they don't understand, or maybe they do, and they're just they realize that they're dying, and so they're reaching out and trying to save themselves. They realize that their system is now the weakest system in the choices of systems. The Treasury, the Federal Reserve, knows they're the weakest system in the options of systems. Look at the Federal Reserve. They adjust their interest rates so that their system doesn't collapse. That's their job. Their job is to set the price of the money in the system. Well, now the system isn't listening to them, because they and the federal government, remember, the Federal Reserve holds treasury bonds as what holds up the Federal Reserve dollar, treasury bonds. So they hold the debt of the most uncapitalized federal government, or any government ever in the history of the world. The federal government puts out $500 billion a week. Let that fucking sink in. They have to sell, or let's call it refinance. They have to actually get another credit card every week, and they have to charge up $500 billion every week so they can pay off an old credit card. Does that sound like it's going to last? Does that sound like this is completely normal? This is completely, let's put it this way. If you owed $100,000 every week, and you went out and you got a credit card every week, and you charged that $100,000 off of one credit card onto another credit card, are you making progress? Are you sleeping good at night? Are you looking at your home fucking finances and going, we're good? No. As soon as you make that 1 week payment, you're sweating your balls off for the next week. You're counting the days until the next week when the money's due. That's what the federal government is doing. Now, luckily, they're the ugliest horse in the race. All right, they're not the ugliest horse in the race. They're an ugly horse, but the rest of the horses are even uglier. And so everyone, not everyone anymore, a lot of people were placing the bets on the ugliest horse. And that ugliest horse just broke its fucking leg. And all of the other horses have 2 legs broken. So the ugliest horse in the race now has a broken leg. It's already ugly, but the race continues. Now, there's a new entity in the race. That's the Bitcoin. It's the young, agile, more it is physically healthy. Is it smaller? Yes. It is a smaller horse. But that smaller horse is more agile than the big horses that have broken fucking legs. The Bitcoin system is simple. It just does what the code tells it to do. It is the code. While we have the Federal Reserve that has to adjust the code every week or every month or every 2 months. And if shit goes crazy, we'll have an emergency meeting to adjust the code of the system so that the system doesn't break. That's what we're living through. That's what we're involved in. That's what our government is reliant on, the credit card of the Federal Reserve, because the rest of China doesn't want any of our debt. They're selling our debt. The only thing propping up, and look this up, the only thing propping up the monetary system of America is legislated purchases. Where, if you're this kind of entity, you have to hold 30% in treasury bonds, according to the law. Now, if you have to write a law for someone to buy something, Obamacare, that something must not be fucking very good. Healthcare sucks. Insurance sucks. So what does the federal government do? Hey, let's make it legal, because all of the companies inside of the healthcare system are about to die because they're overpriced and they give you absolutely shit service. That's the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is the healthcare system of the monetary system. They give you shit service. They're overpriced. Their utility is absolutely fucking horrible. Just like when you walk in and you go to the doctor, please fill out these forms. Please let us know your family history. Please let us know your fucking blood type. What's your temperature? Do you feel good? Do you feel bad? When you go into a bank, you get the same fucking treatment. Hey, I'd like to make a wire from here over to there. Okay, what's your financial history? What's your purpose for your visit? Just like the doctor. What's your purpose for? Well, we have analyzed the information and we have chosen to not give you this service. Jack Mallers was kicked out of JP Morgan. They told him, we're closing your accounts. And Jack Mallers like, And Jack Mallers on MSNBC, he said, God, this is why I love Jack. He basically said, I don't care what Epstein's banker thinks. I think his exact words were, I don't care what Jeffrey Epstein's banker thinks. That's a slap in the fucking mouth right there. And this is the environment we're in. Guys, just because we got rid of Joe Biden doesn't mean the threat is over. It just went, it's still there. Do you think the bureaucrats are still there? A lot of them are, right? We're at war with the old system, and the old system is all of the people that were making money off the system, off the old system. They don't want honesty. They don't want the ability to manipulate the system to go away. They like the Federal Reserve. They think it's a positive that if someone does some horrible investing at a bank and the bank's in trouble, they think it's good that they can manipulate the price of money to cushion the blow. Folks, you either have a free market or you have a slave market. And we're in a slave market. We are all slaves to the Federal Reserve. Your dollar, the shit you work for, all right? That's their money. They produce it. And it's going to shit because they're losing credibility. More and more people are seeing the other system. A great example is Grant Cardone. Hi. Hey, Grant. All right. Grant Cardone, a year and a half ago, wanted nothing to do with the Bitcoin. Nothing. He looked at his brother like he was fucking crazy. He was like, man, you're getting into that Bitcoin shit. That shit, real estate's a game, baby. Real estate's a game. Look at him now. Doing interviews with Michael Saylor, admitting he should have bought more, should have sold properties and bought more Bitcoin. What happened? Did he all of a sudden lose all of his knowledge of the economic system? Did he all of a sudden lose all of his knowledge of how the global economic system works? No. He gained knowledge of how the global economic system works. And he was like, oh, now I see it. We're all fucked. Yeah. And he's learning that real estate is fucked. Because, guys, it doesn't matter. Let me put it this way. Did you know to release the liquidity into the housing market that interest rates have to drop under 2 on real estate loans? Let that fucking sink in. Because so many people, they bought houses at a super low interest rate. They're not gonna budge. They're not gonna go out and say, well, I have a 3.85% interest rate. Let me sell that house and let me go buy a new house that's gonna cost me 6.85 or 7% interest. You've lost your fucking mind. That's why he knows the real estate is fucked. The real estate, the only reason that housing prices haven't collapsed is no one's attempting to sell. No one's attempting to sell. And I have a lot of friends who build houses. They're screwed. They're screwed on land deals that they actually bought 3 or 4 years ago that now they're looking to actually build houses. Well, if you have a land loan, that is usually what is called a balloon loan. If you have a 10-year balloon loan on land that you planned on actually building houses on, but you can't build the houses because no one's looking to buy them sons of bitches at this price because of interest rates. The only people buying houses are people with cash. Our youth, they can't afford houses. Fuck, half of them. Here's how bad of shape we're in, folks. Did you know that Uber Eats and actually fucking what's it called, DoorDash, will let you will let you pay over time for your meal? Number one, if you're that damn broke, why the fuck are you using DoorDash? Number two, they offered that product and they're keeping that product because people are using it. Motherfuckers are paying interest rates on cheeseburgers. That's not good, folks. See, it literally is. It is food layaway. Right? What's that? Remember that one guy, what was it, Popeye? I'll gladly pay you next Tuesday for a cheeseburger today. Boy, that's some foresight. We have food on layaway. Well, like, hey, I'm actually gonna pay. Now, this is not what happened, but this is kind of funny. I'm actually, I want a cheeseburger next in 3 weeks. So let me slowly pay for that cheeseburger. Then I'll get the cheeseburger in 3 weeks. And this is all part of the war. Because, guys, they're admitting they are trying to bring the system down. Look at what's going on in the big sense and realize that, and I've said this for years. Oh, yes, please, everyone watching right now, and I totally forget to always say this, please like and subscribe to the channel and share this information, because guys, right now the old system is trying to shake everyone out, everyone in retail out. That's what they want. They know Michael Saylor ain't gonna sell. They know Grant Cardone ain't gonna sell. They know all of the whales ain't gonna sell. They're trying to shake out retail because they're more worried that you'll see this as an opportunity to get out of their system. Why would you get a loan at JP Morgan when you can get a loan on an app using your Bitcoin? Why? Because trust me, there's no one out there who's like, you know what corporation I really love? That's JP Morgan. They're my favorite company in the world. Yeah, so they did a little drug dealing. So they shipped over cocaine in the early 80s and through the 90s and into the 2000s. So they were Jeffrey Epstein's banker, and they knew what he was doing, and some of the executives were involved with the shit he was doing. Big deal. They're a good company. This is a criminal system. Since 1913, it's been a criminal system. Because in 1913, the plan was to set the interest rate. As soon as they announced, we are going to set the interest rate for money, that's admitting that we're corrupt. We want to manipulate the market. See, this is the war. The war is against the people that they refer to as the labor supply and the banks. See, for years, the banks owned Washington, D.C. The healthcare corporations owned Washington, D.C. The automobile corporations owned Washington. Did you know that GM Financial, their lending company, makes more than the car company? Let that sink in. A car company's most profitable asset is the lending company that they own, not the car. It's almost like the car is the loss loser for the financial company. That's how the system works, folks. They don't give a fuck about their products. They give a fuck about the financing mechanisms that their product can be leveraged against. They make more money off the money than they do the product. That's how this everything is financialized. Everything is financialized, but they don't want you in a system that cannot be altered. See, they can screw with the price, but they can't screw with the protocol. And that's what bugs them. They know that they can play with the price a little bit, but they know they can't fuck with the protocol, no matter what they do. JP Morgan could completely capture Core, and have them change it where there's 100,000 or there's 100 million Bitcoin. But it's a consensus protocol. The consensus of the protocol just won't agree with them and won't use that technology, won't use that protocol. And their 100 million Bitcoin will go away, just like Bitcoin Cash, just like Bitcoin, whatever it was, like LSD or something, whatever the fuck they named it. Because the consensus will follow the original protocol. So there's no threat, and don't worry about quantum. This whole quantum shit is absolutely bullshit. It's the biggest threat to Bitcoin is quantum. Really? Because quantum would have to attack every node in the Bitcoin network at once. And they could, even if they could actually attack every node at once, it would last for 10 minutes and then it would reset. That's it, folks. There is no threat to Bitcoin from quantum. It's all bullshit. It's all absolute bullshit. The weapon is the decentralization. The the nuclear bomb of the old system is the Bitcoin protocol because it's incorruptible. Even if you try to corrupt it, it has a protocol immune system. So it can adjust to the situation at the moment, and then the attack is absolutely worthless. It's immune to it because it is a decentralized consensus protocol. They're just trying to frighten you. Here's a great analogy. Westinghouse and Tesla. Westinghouse wanted the direct current DC. Tesla was for alternating currency, AC. Westinghouse would give examples of elephants getting electrocuted and say, look, alternating currents are bad. But he never gave an example of what direct current would do to an elephant. See, alternating currency would use the elephant as a conductor. And because of the elements in the elephant, yes, it would slowly cook the elephant, while direct current would explode the elephant. So they never gave the example. But what Westinghouse did was try and frighten everyone from using Tesla's electricity protocol, because that's what Tesla's alternating current was. It was a protocol of electricity. And Westinghouse was like, no, that's a bad protocol. My protocol's better. So, well, here's how bad Tesla's protocol is. Look, it shocks the elephant. Not explaining that if he used his protocol, it would blow up the elephant. The old system is Westinghouse. See, Westinghouse, the reason he went with direct currency is because direct currency is not decentralized. You cannot decentralize direct current. You can't, because the electricity is at a direct frequency. That's it, one frequency, where alternating currencies would allow a decentralization into a grid, where all of the electrical plants could harmonize with the energy on the line, which means they could blend their power with existing power and ramp up the amps. That's it. While Westinghouse, the reason he wanted his protocol used is every 12 blocks, you'd have to have a power plant, because that power plant would only run those 12 blocks, because you couldn't tap another line in from another power plant and harmonize the electrical waves. He wanted to create a monopoly of power where he owned all of the electric generation plants. That's what Westinghouse wanted. While Tesla's like, no, anyone can plug in to an alternating current electricity network. He was explaining how this would decentralize power, where Illinois could have several different power companies. Florida could have several different power companies, or you could have a co-op. That what and that's why alternating currents worked, because it actually decentralized the protocol, which means more humans and more electric companies could then participate in the protocol of AC electricity. So J.P. Morgan is the equivalent of Westinghouse. They want to centralize. The Federal Reserve is the Westinghouse of the financial system. They want to centralize the control. The federal government, as it is right now, and as it was with Joe Biden and for like the past fucking forever years, has actually been a centralizing organization. See, have you ever heard a politician who is like, I created 4 million jobs? You know how they did that? Regulation. If you regulate an industry, you are creating jobs for the regulation in the company. So you're creating jobs to make the company do more work, not productive work, but reporting work. You have to report to the government. You have to have a compliance officer. What? A compliance officer? Yeah, because we have so many regulations on your industry that you need an expert on the regulations. If you're an oil company, you have to have a compliance officer and a whole fucking army of compliance officers, because you also need compliance lawyers to advise the compliance officers. They create this whole system that has nothing to do with productivity. None. An oil company can produce oil without a compliance officer. It isn't like the fucking compliance officer is out there fucking poking holes in the ground and getting oil. No. Legislation and regulation are leeches on productivity. That's what they are. And that's what they were meant to be. They were meant to be regulatory leeches so that the government can set the direction for the industry. So the government was choosing what was right and what was wrong, not the market. And when you do that, you destroy your fucking society, because then your society is not choosing the direction of the market and products. That's just how it works. All right. And we're at war with so many of these old, ancient, regulatory fucking industries, because they have reached the point where now the corporations control the regulatory environment. You think any of the senators write any of these fucking bills? No. If it's a health insurance legislation, the health insurance companies write the legislation, hand it to their little fucking shithead representative, or senator or congressman and says, here's the next health care bill. You think Obamacare was written by Obama? Fuck no, it wasn't. The healthcare industry. Think about this. If Obamacare was bad for the health insurance companies, do you think it would have passed? Not a fucking chance in hell. Because these regulatory entities and all of the boards, I love how our federal government has we have a board of legislators that handle the banking. We have a board. Did you know that there is a board for it is a board for endangered birds? That there's a board in the government that legislates endangered birds. Well, do you think we could leave that to the private sector? You think we can kind of like not legislate that? Can we have some fucking freedom here? And who was the fucking genius who's like, you know what kind of board we need? We need a board that protects endangered snails out in California so that we can shut off the water to all of the farmers so that the fucking snail doesn't die. But what about all the food for all of the water for the farmers that grow the food for the people? They'll be all right. They'll figure it out. Government is not good. Government is just a corporation, and every corporation's number one goal is to collect market share. That's what the government has been doing for the last 125 years, is collecting a higher market share of the U.S. GDP market. More of the GDP is reliant on federal law and regulation than production. I can prove it. Remember, during the shutdown, I can't tell you how many fucking talking heads on CNBC and Bloomberg were saying, you know, the federal government shutdown is really going to affect GDP. Excuse me? Oh, it's going to affect GDP because those people aren't getting paid. Wait, GDP is production. Well, yeah, it's the employees are a leech on production. They're not an ad on production. Well, yeah, but they get paychecks. Yeah. Let me explain this. Every federal employee is a inflation into the system. Federal government employee payments are inflationary to the economy because they aren't linked with production. Regulation is not producing something. Legislation is not producing something. No one's in Washington, D.C. cranking out automobiles. No one's in Washington, D.C. Growing corn. The federal government payroll is inflationary in its nature because you are injecting capital, injecting money into an economy that isn't that isn't attached to the production of a saleable good. That's the definition of fucking inflation. If you're not producing anything, but you're issuing money into the economy, that's inflationary in itself. That's why the Federal Reserve has a 2% inflation rate target, because they know the federal government, just by itself, the employees of the federal government, their payroll will lift it at least fucking 2%. It isn't that's their goal. That's what they'd like to keep it at, or at least the illusionary number. Oh, everyone watching, please hit like and subscribe if you want to hear some more of this shit, because I do it every day, Monday through Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then on Thursday, I got my CEO Jay, then on Friday. Please hit like and subscribe and share. Now, I could rant about this shit forever. What I am doing is I am working to produce products and services to help the general public and apparently now companies get into Bitcoin. That's why I launched the credit union. That's why I launched, that's why I'm launching the resort in El Salvador, which we just closed on the resort last week. Great job, team. That's why I have all of the clubs, because I'm looking long view. I'm not looking to work with the system. I'm looking to replace the system, but it has to be a slow process. I hear people say, God, I can't wait until the Bitcoin's at $500,000. Me too. But we have to get there gradually. Here's an example. You're on a boat and it's sinking approximately 2% per hour. So according to the calculations, it will actually take about 50 hours for that ship to sink. That's the old American system. That's the old monetary system. Now, if the Bitcoin jumps up to $500,000 in like 3 months, folks, the system isn't sinking, it's sunk. That's that ship going down instantly. So you have no fucking time to get off the ship in an organized, prepared manner. Yes, I want the old system to collapse, but I want to create the new system that people can move into slowly or relatively slowly. We ain't got much time left. We're up to about the 8th floor on the fucking Titanic. We ain't got much time left. And a lot of people are moving over to the new ship. And let's be honest, some people are going to go down with the fucking ship. JP Morgan. But I'm okay with them going down with the ship because they created the motherfucker. They're the son of a bitches who actually built the ship. Let them go. They are the captains of the old monetary ship. Let them sons of bitches go down. This is what bothers me. This is what annoys the fuck out of me. That old system, they know they're going down. They're just trying to drag us. Not really drag us. They're actually trying to bring all of the lifeboats down with the ship. Because they're like, if we can't run the system, we'll destroy the system. Well, the system's that's on autopilot. As soon as they launched the Federal Reserve, the clock was ticking on how long the American economy would last. Everyone knows it. World War I, the American involvement in World War I could have never happened without the Federal Reserve. Boy, lucky they were there, or we couldn't have gotten into a war. It's almost like they were created to prepare the system to go into the war. Oh, wait a second. World War II would have never existed because there wouldn't have been a World War I. Oh, think of all of the people who died fighting a war of the bankers. Because that's what it was. World War I was just the battle of the bankers. World War II, the battle of the bankers. Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq. Iraq, battle of the bankers. And we're used to fight the wars for the bankers. And yet we're supposed to look at JP Morgan and go, thank God they're here. Boy, if it wasn't for them, who the hell would tell us if we could use our money? I mean, we all know CIA, the U.S. federal government over the last 125 years, they created all of the terrorist organizations that then used that terrorist organization to justify another war. Great example, perfect example. I got two of them. Osama bin Laden went to college in Canada, motherfuckers. All right. And you're telling me this son of a bitch lived in a cave? His family was the richest family in Saudi Arabia. And Osama bin Laden, after we finally got him, we buried him at sea out of respect for Osama bin Laden. We never proved we had his body. We buried him at sea. Well, how fucking nice of us. All right. Then we have Iraq. Saddam Hussein. Who originally funded Saddam Hussein? It was America. So we bring Saddam Hussein into power. And then all of a sudden we're like, oh, he has weapons of mass destruction. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, you sold them to us. Where do you think Saddam got these quote unquote weapons of mass destruction? You think he swung over to fucking Walmart? Who's the highest level of weapons of mass production producer in the world? That's us. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit and made so the federal government, which is controlled by the progressives and the communists of the world, and I don't mean the slogan communist. I don't mean the retards in fucking Antifa. I mean the real communist, the real globalist. That's who we're at war with. And we have been at war since they took over the government after the Civil War. You think I'm wrong? Look it up. The first progressive ever I'll give you a hint. Speak softly, but carry a big stick. Guys, this has been 150-year plan to take America down. And we've had this war several times. 1920s, we had this war. The 1950s, we had this war. The Red Scare, 1920s, and the McCarthy era of the 1950s. And in 2008, that was another little episode we had. And that's when they officially took control, was 2008. And we have been fighting against them since. Guys and gals, you have one weapon against this. That's the Bitcoin. Don't look at the price. That price is to fool you into this I'm going to sell fucking mentality. Because they have tricked you. Because they have set in your mind to value their US dollar that they print up. Hell, nowadays they don't even print it. They just type it into a computer screen. It's time. And that's exactly what my clubs do. That's what our credit union does. We're setting up the new system. And in El Salvador, with the credit union and our resort, and I'm setting up a whole system down there where you guys will be able to own property in El Salvador and make income off the property. Guys, we are setting up a whole new system. Fuck this old system. But is it gonna be a little bumpy? Yes. When the American Pilgrims left England, the ocean was a little bumpy. It was a little risky. They had to float their asses all the way over to Plymouth Rock. But was it worth it? Abso-fucking-lutely it was. Because they hodled their freedom until they reached a point where they could release their freedom and create a free society that's based on freedom. This is your chance. The more of the Bitcoin you buy, the bigger your ship is on the ocean as we cross and leave the old system into the new system. Because if you have a couple sats, you basically have armed floaties. Like a fucking 2-year-old. If you accumulate and you get more and more actual Bitcoin, and this is what I've been trying to tell everybody. Yes, get you some Bitcoin, but look at the new system. Realize those who will become wealthy will own the new system. That's what the bankers did. They bought the system. Okay, everyone watching right now, please hit like and subscribe. And remember, we have a ton of ways to purchase some Bitcoin. We can actually get you a loan as low as $5,000, as high as, I think our largest one is about $250,000 loan, unsecured loan to buy Bitcoin. And we can actually refinance your house and help you buy the Bitcoin. And like I said, we have tons of ways. If you have a credit card and you want to buy some Bitcoin, give us a call. 941-413-8080. And this is the key. Because we are a membership club, no KYC. That's the key. Freedom, independence, and privacy. Okay, everyone have a kick-ass day. I absolutely love you guys, and I will absolutely see you guys tomorrow. Give us a call, 941-413-8080, and say, how the hell can you get me some more Bitcoin? And you can also text us. Love you guys. See you guys tomorrow.
What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.